highlight some of the capabilities that you're able to achieve with this new product and offer, and give you a full demo of the most relevant in our cases of these capabilities in a live demo. Then we talk a bit of the accelerators that we have already built on top of project operations for Dynamics 365. There is a pricing in our agenda, but we will see. I don't believe there is any public available pricing released by Microsoft yet. They are planning to release this, I believe, within the next weeks, and some resources and learn more about the product. Okay, so continuing, we are Proactiv, part of Fellowmind group. Together with these 8 brands, we have over 1,350 employees, or fellows as we kindly say it. We are present in over 6 countries and 28 offices, and our revenue is around 280 million euros. We at Proactiv have been a leading partner within the Nordics for, I would say, over 20 years, and we have also collected several awards during this journey. We have been 5 times Microsoft Partner of the Year. Last year we were actually nominated and won the Digital Transformation, Optimizing Operations and Empowering Employees as well. And all these years we have collected 27 different awards by Microsoft. But in 2020 we were actually awarded on a global scale as the winner for Microsoft Project and Portfolio Management Award, which we are extremely proud of. My name is Alan Rocha. I'm the Director of Project Operations and Business Applications at Proactiv. I have been with Proactiv for over 5 years, but in this field I'm spent, I believe, around 17 years. And during this journey, of course, which I believe it can tell you a little bit about my passion and dedication to the topic, I wrote 3 books about the Microsoft project, and also have been the Microsoft MVP, or Most Valuable Professional, within this field for over 11 years now, which I'm also keeping proudly. Now, a quick overview about the new offer, Project Operations. The Microsoft team has released this new product or a new offer, basically to supply the demand of services business. So enabling companies and organizations to run from the sales part, the quotations, all the resourcing, the project delivery, time and expense, in combination with project accounting and business intelligence, so allowing you to actually supply from the sales part to the billing part all in one product, and making sure that all this has full collaboration and integration within one unique product. There is a public preview available at the moment. You can open this link which is presented on the slide below, and you are going to be able to actually sign up for your organization for a public preview. So the idea from Microsoft was, they knew there was several ways and several different areas interacting with each other. We have the sales part, we have the team members, we have project managers, a little bit of HR, finance, and also the project leaders that are going to be working on all these different tools, using a little bit of CRM, a little bit of PPM, the old project service automation or the PSA, and also accounting on bottom of all of this. And that's why Microsoft decided to build one product. So what is Dynamics 365 Project Operations? Is this new offer that brings in, allow and empower service organizations to get from the sales part till the end of the chain when you are billing and analyzing profitability with your projects. So you get project sales with account managers, you enable project planning for project managers, you have resource utilization for resource managers, team collaboration for all team members around that specific project and initiative, time and expenses for partner managers, and project accounting included and connected to your ERP system for project accountants, and business intelligence for practice directors to really analyze those projects. This is not a new tool. Basically, Microsoft combined existing offers within the market to build this unique, I would say, product. So we took advantage, or Microsoft actually had the idea to use the Microsoft Project Service Automation, which was already built on Dynamics 365, in combination with Dynamics 365 Finance or F&O, to combine the delivery part with the accounting part. And on top of that, we are actually using or inheriting the Microsoft Project Engine for scheduling, which has been in the market for over, I believe, more than 20 years. And that engine is really, really powerful and supplying the entire ecosystem now for project operations. Microsoft is really gaining competitiveness edge with this product because they made a broad and deep solution leverage the entire platform. So they ensure that all these teams are connected in one project operations lifecycle, which is really, really important for our customers. On top of that, we use Microsoft Project for the Web, which is kind of the new kid on the block, fully embedded with project operations to improve customer collaboration and also to accelerate project delivery. As you know, Project for the Web has been replacing Project Online, Microsoft Project, since 2019 October, and it has been a very, very successful product with a lot of new adopters and lovers, including myself. We cannot forget about real-time business insights across all your projects and service operations that allows you to really adapt your demand and focus on the right projects. You see that the tool comes completely ready for you to analyze profitability and compare customer sales and delivery at the same time. It's a really, really well done and a great work from the Microsoft team. If we jump into the architecture and how the architecture behind the scenes works, we have here the overview of the new Dynamics 365 or project operations. In the left side, you can see we have the project world with project home, roadmaps, and the, I would say, deprecated project online, but it's still available, and there is not even an end of life for them yet. We have Planner, DevOps, and other tools like Jira. One step, as you see a little bit to the right side, we have Project for the Web, which is the engine reinvented or reimagined by Microsoft for project management as a replacement for Microsoft Project Online. Then we have this box in the middle, which is the box number 2, and that is the new offer in combination with what was present on PSA or Project Service Automation and the new capabilities that are actually present at the Dynamics 365 World already. For example, you have resource management with ability to remake and generate requirements for your resources. You have time and expense and status and approvals on the top of this. You have URS, which is a very big deal in the Dynamics because it means universal resource scheduling. That means it goes across all your Dynamics platform. You're able to really evaluate the capacity and utilization of your resources within the same overlook. And the most interesting part is we now are able to select some F&O or finance and operations entities coming from F&O system and bring them within the same CDS or common data services. And that is a game changer because now you're able to really get all those capabilities in combination with your ERP or accounting system. And one of our demos today is going to be exactly like that. We are going from the sales part till the billing and generating an invoice to the customer. Some of the capabilities present on the Microsoft Dynamics 365 project operations are here, and as you see, they are a vast number of capabilities. coming from the project sales, project planning, on all these different areas. We will focus today on our webinar on some of them. As you see, I have highlighted a lot, but don't worry, this will actually be covered in a very, very seamless way, where we look at different contract types. We're going to be looking at the quotation process, also some quotation revisions, and going for the project planning part, we will take care of the WBS, or work breakdown structure, show you how an interactive Gantt chart and Kanban board can be enabled within the tool, showing some dependencies and constraints that are built in within the system. We will show a little bit of skills management and how you can optimize resource allocation across the organization using URS, allowing you to generate requirements and bookings by URS infrastructure, configure a little bit of filters and a search for the right resources. We have something called reconciliations for bookings and assignments, where you can compare what is actually being executed in your project plan and what has been agreed with your project, with your resource manager. We look at resource requests and proposals, and not forgetting about a very intuitive web interface and experience for entries. That means time registration and actuals within the system, fully connected, not only with the tasks from your project, but also connected with your Outlook calendar and allocations with our URS or bookings. You have some options to approve or edit those specific actual hours, because they are the ones that we are going to be billing in the end. We have also deep expense management. You can add completely different levels of expenses, including hotels. It's fully configurable, but we will show it during the demo as well. We have a dimension that is also configurable for cost, sales, price, that allow us to really compare the profitability of our projects, and different catalogs of pricing, including products and services. We will look at periodic invoices, how you generate those periodic invoices, and also using word-based invoice templates so that it can fit completely your organization. And by the end, revenue recognition. So we're able to see if that project, how much money that was generated within that project, including inter-organizational revenue. So jumping to the demo. I actually took advantage of some of the process already built in, and I made a quick drawing here showing in a, I would say, simple way how and what each one of those profiles can interact within the system, and which system they're actually going to be using. You see here in the top we have Michael Schmidt. He's an account manager and he looks after our customers. So he's the one who's going to be tracking opportunities, building proposals, setting up cost rates, estimating the deal, setting up bill rates, negotiate and win that deal. And on top of that, working collaboratively. They will be working together with a project manager like Dea, and they ensure that everything is on time and delivered on budget. And that is quite important, because while we are estimating the deal, we can take full advantage of building a plan, estimating project and costs within that plan, setting a baseline. That means we have a solid amount of information to build that specific proposal and then finalizing the budget. With that said, the project manager will also be the one creating the resource requirements and requesting those projects resources for the resource manager. Which brings us to the next level, which is Peter Scott. He's actually the resource manager. He ensures that all our project managers have the appropriate resource for their projects. How that is done? He reviews all project resource requests. He staffs the project team based on the skill sets, preferences from the project managers, and also availability across the organization. He will also review team allocations and fully understand resource utilization. One level down now, after that staffing has been done, we have Thiago Paes. He's a project team member. He will be able to log his time, log his expenses, and also report progress on assignments, Outlook, calendar items, all connected within the same project. In the bottom of our, I would say, diagram, we have Mickey Lauri, which is a project accountant, and he makes sure everything is done by the book. So we need to understand the revenue recognition for the projects, if we are still profitable or not. He will generate all the accounting and project transactions within the system, and also generate the project invoicing. With that said, I think this will give us a solid way to start our demos. I have divided the demos in several different areas. We will be talking a little bit on the technical side, what is dual write, because this is a game changer and what will allow us to work within a very modern CDS environment in combination with your existing F&O solutions. We will go from the sales and quotations. Then we jump into project for the web in requirements in generating these quote lines. That means the collaborative work. We will look at invoice schedules, expenses and estimates, resource requirements, resource reconciliation and schedule board, time entries, and also importing from Outlook, so you can take advantage of your way of working inside Outlook to make your time entries or time registration, how you submit a time entry, how you approve and track those time entries, and also evaluating profitability analysis and comparison within customers and projects. And by the end, we finish with invoice in finance and operations. Starting now, as you see, we can jump directly into our Office 365. We have the new app, which is still in preview, called Microsoft Project Operations. As you see, Microsoft Project is also there. You can also open the Project Operations from your new Power Apps homepage. When you jump into that specific overview, you can see that already we have pre-built a set of dashboards, allowing us to look at sales dashboards, resource management dashboards, and a different set of items are done on our navigation bar. When we jump into the other side, we can actually go and find our customers. And now I'm going to show you how the dual write works. I'm opening now the finance and operations, and I'm going to find all my customers. So this is my ERP, where I keep all the information for my customers, where I bill the customers, where I have all that accounting information. And look at this. I will go and make a change directly within my new project operation system, and this will reflect almost immediately within our finance and operations. That means we have the dual write fully active between the two systems. Whatever I'm doing into the new platform inside CDS, it's reflecting almost in a fraction of a second within finance and operations, as you see here. I changed a customer in one place, it's automatically changed in another place, and vice versa. This is really important to ensure that we have integrity within this information, and we make sure that the data is always synchronized between the systems. Now we go for sales and quotations. I will jump into my price list, where I can define different price lists with different currencies, and also what and which roles are chargeable, how much I'm actually charging for that specific role if you are working on different markets or maybe different regions. And those price lists can be done on a sales cost or a cost. That means a labor cost. And that is quite important for us to track profitability within our projects. When I go into the opportunities, I'm able to track all my customers' opportunities using also the Outlook add-on. And in this part, I will generate a new opportunity for any specific customer. So I'll just type it briefly at the name of that opportunity. Project operations, demo. Who is the owning company on that specific opportunity? I can also select which account I'm referring to, and that will bring me the currency that I'm working for that account, and also I can take the probability that I will win that specific opportunity, an idea of the customer budget. This is pure Dynamics CRM and sales or customer engagement. When I save that opportunity, now I'm able to actually track not only who is the stakeholders involved on that opportunity, but also the sales team for recognition of each one of the wins within that specific opportunity. When I'm working on that opportunity, I'm able to build what we call the project baselines and quotations. When I go to my quotation, that's when the integration with the project starts to highlight. So I'm creating a new quote for that specific opportunity. I have been engaging with the customer, and now I'm able to generate a new quote. In the summary of the quote, I have some automatically generated items that identify that quotation, like a quote ID, and also I can tell if what is the status of that quote, what is the currency I'm going to be working, and also it will give you a lot of information on that quote if you win that specific quote. I will show you in a second. But now I'm automatically getting from that customer the project price list, and that project price list is connected and brings all the rates that will be applied for that customer. You are able to change that quotation or roll prices based on each quote, but it allows you to really reutilize or reuse a lot of these project price lists. In my quote lines, as you see here, I will add a new quote line that brings the information and will build up my entire quotation, and I will give a name to that quote line, and that will be just my 2020 PA project operations demo or quote line demo. What is my billing method? I will work on a fixed price for this customer, and at this point I'm able to already connect to a specific project, and that project will allow me to automatically build the realistic price for that specific quote line. So I'm gonna give a name to that specific project. So it's the 2020 PA project operations project and demo. My owning company is still the same. My calendar that will be applied, it's already selected, and I will set up some basic information before I create this project connected to my quote line. So amount of hours, what is the labor cost that I'm expecting, and also the expense costs that I'm expecting for this specific project. This information is just in a high level, and you'll be able to change that later when you detail a little bit more that information. If I open that specific project, I will get. Now, when I open that specific project, I will jump into the project for the web and requirements and update of my quotation lines. So following the life cycle, I open my new project, and that is really important that this is already on your project execution part. So if you look on the left side, we also have already different links. We are not on the sales part anymore, we are on the project operations part. And when I jump into my tasks, we will download and actually connect it to project for the web, being able to use this very advanced and modern tool for scheduling. So I'll just create my high-level scheduling, just typing briefly initiation, planning, execution, and maybe even using and taking advantage of a WBS structure. So I'm gonna, in execution, create a development phase 1 and also development phase 2 and a closure. I have built the basic setup for my proposal or my project. I will add few new columns here that will allow me to take a better overview of what I'm actually delivering here. So I have the assigned to, I have the duration, start, and effort. And I will start by adding just the duration of usually how long it takes to run those specific phases in my project or tasks, and 15 days for initiation, and I have here 25 days for planning, 50 days for the development phase 1, and let's say I will have 30 days for the development phase 2 and 10 days for the closure. Look how now I can take advantage of a board view or a Kanban look like to, first of all, build my own buckets, and I can really create any type of I would say pillars or buckets here to organize my tasks. So tasks that are already approved, or maybe tasks that are critical or on hold, you are able to really take advantage of this planner look-like interface, and it's really rich, fully connected to your project. So if I just drag and drop some of those tasks, they automatically belong to a specific bucket, allowing you, the project manager, to really validate those items and take full control of their project planning. And we also have the very intuitive interface for mostly traditional project managers, which is the timeline or Gantt chart view, where I can adjust the zoom of my project to really have an over look on all the tasks. By dragging and dropping the tasks, I can create relationships between them or dependencies. So I'm actually telling you that this task can only start after that specific one, by using and taking full advantage of the interface you see here. Each task also contains one specific information area, where from that area I can also take advantage and build those dependencies and relationships between them. What is really important here is there is an engine for scheduling behind here, that we start with kind of an Excel look-like, and we ended up with a very rich interface for project managers using Gantt charts. Now, within project operations, I'm gonna staff or make my requirements of those specific phases. So I need a sales specialist, and what I'm doing now is actually assigning a task to a role and not to a specific person, because that's what you're looking at, right? Because afterwards, when you really go for executing that project, you have someone, or a resource manager or a line manager, taking care of finding the right resource for you. So I create a sales specialist generic resource. Now I'm going to create a generic project manager with always taking care of selecting the right role. So I will select project manager role. And also for the development phase, pay attention that I'm now able to actually make two different requests for the same type of resource. So you can decide if it's going to be one person or two persons, but you can already kind of predict if you need more than one resource for that specific phase. So in this case, I'm gonna have a network technician, phase 1, and I'm going to have another network technician for phase 2. The resource manager will decide if it will be the same person or it will be two different persons. If you're running that in parallel, you can already predict that you probably need two guys on that specific task. And I'm using the same project manager. Now, when you jump into the team overview, look what project operations have already done for you. It consolidated all those requirements on a generic level based on specific roles and giving you exactly the total effort needed. If I go to my sales tab, I'm able to see my quotation and look how the systems start to working together. I have the chargeable roles, maybe my sales is not chargeable. I have also some chargeable categories that are present here, but the most important is the quotation line details. I'm able to import that estimation that were realistically elaborated by the project manager and the team, and bring all of that summarized by category or by WBS, or you can decide how you are bringing this and which level do you want to have in this overview. But look, now it's bringing all those phases I have planned with the amount of hours, taking care of my price list, all of this fully connected within one unique system. On top of that, we are gonna creating some invoice schedules. So let's assume we have one that's specific, or I know already when this is gonna be invoiced. It's a small project, so I will generate automatically my invoice schedule, which take care of also some requirements. In this case, I needed to tell when is my billing start gonna be initiated. So let's say on 14th of September. my invoice frequency will be at 7th day on every month. When I generate that invoice, it automatically look at the amount of the estimates, consolidating all the work within that specific milestone, and create for me an invoice schedule as well. Once that is done, we are going to be looking at expense and estimates. So we are not completed with our quotation yet. So I'm able to actually go back. So I'm going to save this quotation line. And so if I look at the resource assignments, it's actually giving us the information about all the assignments within that project in a very, very rich interface, month by month, by role, by resource. And also pay attention that right now we only have resources being demonstrated here, but when I go for my estimates, I'm also able to look on a monthly basis for each one of those roles, which task these roles are being assigned. It's a very, very rich interface to give you an idea on sales price and cost price. When I go for my expense estimates, I'm able to just simple like that already add some expense estimates, like I'm expecting that I will be using to flight, even though we are on the Corona times, but still we are able to flight. So I would have 2 flights and the cost is going to be 3,000 crowns and the sales price is exactly the same. Hotel, and that will be mileage, and the system automatically calculates. When you go back to your estimates for the project, now this project is taking care of everything, not only the resource cost, but also the expenses within the project, which is really, really interesting. And pay attention now, if I go back to my expenses and I change the dates that they will happen, this can really impact how you are billing, how you are actually estimating and forecasting your cash flow or your project cash flow in this case. So I just changed it to now starts instead of September, I'm starting in October. I update the prices and it automatically brings to me the new price information recalculated for the right timeline. It's a very, very rich, I would say, useful interface for project managers to take full control of their projects. Now we are going to look at the resource requirements. So when I jump into my resource requirements, which were generated from the scheduling or from my tasks overview, I'm actually able to automatically convert a specific requirement or this consolidated amount of hours based on a role into a requirement. And it will generate to me kind of a spreadsheet or a page where I can even facilitate the work for the resource managers by telling who is the preferred person to execute that task. So in this case will be Alan. And I also would like for the next requirement, so I will just take now my network technician. I click one button and generate a requirement on top of that. And when I generate this requirement, you can navigate and give more information about that request. And that's what most organizations are looking for. So I can facilitate the optimization of which resource is the best to really work on this project. So this specific task requires assembly line design with proficiency very high. And we also need assembly maintenance, and it needs to be proficiency good, or my rating value should be good. With that said, this will enable the universal resources scheduling to really understand what has been requested by the project and which resource we should supply your project. And now we go for the resource reconciliation and schedule board. So as you see here, now we are going to be looking at how those requirements will be fulfilled by the resource manager. So when I open my my schedule board, I can look at all my resources, how they have been allocated across different projects. I'm able to change the granularity that I'm looking on a weekly basis or a monthly basis. If I open a specific resource, I'm able to see which project that resource is already allocated to. And if you look in the below area, all the requirements coming from project managers will be described here as an open requirement. I can select one specific one, which is the board or filter side. When I look for the resource available, look that all those resources can match some of the criteria, but there is a preferred resource because the project manager already worked with them, and you can actually see the resource now is Alan and is actually preferred. You can look at the skill sets and also which roles Alan is playing. By selecting that resource, the system will automatically allocate Alan on that resource management role. You are able to actually allow double bookings or even cancel other existing bookings if this is a high priority booking. And when you say book and exit or just book that resource, automatically project operations will replace that requirement with this new resource that you have just allocated for this project. Now, as you see, Alan is allocated for our demo project. He's a little bit overbooked, so the resource manager can actually look on a little bit highly or lower detail level on a weekly basis now and see that maybe I have to readjust some of those tasks. Here's our project. And the schedule board is a very powerful tool for resource managers and any organization that wants to optimize resource utilization. In this view now, I will show you how easy it is for me to actually reprioritize some specific items. So I'm moving that allocation to actually end by October. So what we will be doing now is I will move and start that specific assignment by November, completely removing the overlap of two projects by just dragging and dropping. That is one very interesting part because you can even make very detailed adjustments. So instead of 176 hours, I'm gonna have 150 hours to match the resource calendar within that specific month. And once that is done, the over allocations are done and completed. There is no more over allocation within that specific resource. Now I'm gonna book the network technician broader in maybe other territories, and I will select one resource. Let me see the skills level. Yeah, assembly line design. It has also some operations research. It matches my specifics and characteristics requested for this project. I will get a full requirement and I will book and exit. Automatically, what I'm doing is I have booked Alan in one of those requirements and I have booked Ashley in another requirement. By the project manager now, he will be notified about these specific requirements and allocations. He once have requested based on a generic resource and a role, and now the resource managers made a clear and very, very optimized book for this project. I will go into my team, and as you see, we have Ashley already replacing that specific assignment, and I have now also Alan replaced with the project management role. We can clearly see the resource reconciliation and every resource that have been allocated to my project, looking at what he has been assigned to my project and what the resource managers have booked within the allocation part of the requirements. And that's a great overview to see that now maybe you have to move a specific task that was planned to start in November, but I will actually move, it was planned to start in September, but I'm moving a month ahead. And when you go back to the resource reconciliation, you can actually see now that I will be matching with the specific allocations from my resource manager. The same can be done in the opposite way. Instead of changing my schedule, I can also ask the resource manager to make an adjustment and fit this with my assignment. So for Ashley, everything starts in December, so I can just go to Ashley, take that assignment that is starting November, moving to December, kind of a fine tune to really match with what is specifically done. As you see now, I have no highlights for Ashley in December because I fine tuned that. Now we're going to be looking at, once I have allocated the resource, I'm going to have time entries and also how I can provide actuals for my projects. And I go to my tracking view. In the tracking view, it's looking at your original plan and also what has been already completed. The most interesting part here is when you go to your time entries, you're able to actually take advantage of Outlook calendars as well. So take a look at this. I'm creating an item, just call it working on a project demo. And I will say that, and pay attention to the hours that I'm using on each one of those specific days. So on second, I have a specific amount of hours. Now on third, I will have 3.5 hours working on that project. And on fourth, I will have, let's say, 5 hours on that project. So I'm using my Outlook connected to my organization. When I go to my time entries, you have a clean way of looking at tasks that are coming to you. This is kind of my time registration. I'm going to the period that I'm going to be working, which is November, and look at the 3 options I have to actually populate my time entries. So I'm looking now to import exchange appointments from that specific week or that specific period of time that I'm looking at. Once you have made that import, it will show you all those 3 items coming directly from your Outlook calendar. And based on each one of those items, it will populate your time registration overview with the exactly amount of hours that you have placed in your calendar. Mostly important here is I can now link this to a real project. So I'm looking for my project demo project. So let me just search correctly here. And there we go, that is my project, and I can even connect that specific calendar event or events with a specific task. If I provide the role, it will automatically also bill properly within that project. So on each one of those cells, if you pay attention, we even are able to see the details or the descriptions that are coming from Outlook as well, providing that information also to the project manager. Now I would like to actually look at other ways so I can import from my resource assignments. This will be looking directly within your project schedule and all tasks that are assigned to you. As you see here, I have a specific task for planning in that project. I will import into my time registration, and this is all those details will be sent to the project managers for approval when you have submitted those hours. So now I'm submitting my hours to the project managers for approval. The entry status is submitted. The project manager now will go and approve time entries and make the tracking. So as a project manager, you navigate and you can see all the details of those tasks coming from the projects. Also looking at the time entry details. So for example, the information you placed on your calendar will be displayed here. All the descriptions will be present for the project manager to approve or reject that specific item. I will approve all those in one shot. And as a project manager now, you actually, as a resource manager, if you go back to your time registration entry, you'll be able to see once a specific time entry is approved or maybe rejected. If I go back to my project, I'm looking now at the tracking overview, and inside the tracking overview, you'll be able to now compare what has been planned and what is actually already completed, coming from a full integration with team members reporting time to your projects. What is really important here is all this is also being taken care on the cost and the prices within that project, so we are able to bill the customer accordingly with what is being registered by the specific resource. The tool also provides some automatically generated KPIs telling me if I'm over time, over budget, and automatically give me that information in a very clear overview. Once all of that is done, this quotation with different customers, but when you go into the quote, you are now able to look at profitability analysis, telling you how much cost you actually expending with and against the contract of that project, giving you exactly if this project is profitable or not and how much is the revenue that you have. Also a clear overview in regards of what has been quoted and the budget that the customer have. allowing you to take very important decisions in regards of how should I approach this customer and how should I move on. The final step, and we are almost out of time, we are now looking at our quotations. I can look at my invoices, which has been generated. The invoice is also completely integrated with project operations. It's based on my quotation, the different billing methods. Once I confirm that invoice, and what I will do now is confirmed, I can go into my financing operations or my ERP system, and inside that system I'm able to actually, it's everything, remember, connected using dual write, so that information is being pulled out almost every minute and you can decide. And when I look at all my invoices overview, I'm able to actually, I have to change my company here to US. It is already here with the same amount that you have predicted and quoted within the project operations. So for the accounting part, this is everything you need, because you have a very reliable information, fully synchronized, and from this point I have a full invoice that I can just print and review. And now, as you see, I have my invoice based on the entire project life cycle for my project operations. And this is really, really important for most of our customers, giving this full picture and reliability of data across all the parts, from the sales to the billing part. We have built a set of accelerators for project operations. We were actually the winner product for Microsoft 2020 Project and Portfolio Management Award. Feel free to take a look. It is also in the app source and in the website, as you see on the QR code here. Pricing, unfortunately, is not disclosed yet, so I believe Microsoft will be actually providing more price information soon, but we can expect something between the PSA and financing operations pricing cost. Resources, Microsoft has already announced a webinar that will be actually introducing the Microsoft Dynamics 365 project operations. I believe is the last webinar before they go on general availability. And thank you very much.